Hi everyone, it's Dr. Watson from Mission Pediatrics. So we're getting a lot of parent requests to write notes to let kids go back to school without ever being tested, just based on whatever the parents tell us over the phone. And it doesn't work like that. Unfortunately, we can't just write notes to send everybody back to school. There are some rules that we really need to follow before we can do that. So this is frustrating for people, but this is really kind of out of our hands. If a school suspects that you've got COVID, you got to get COVID tested. There's really no way around that unless you want to be out 10 days. At the end of those 10 days without, from when those symptoms started, you can go back to school. You may or may not need a doctor's note depending on the school district, but if you actually follow the CDC guidelines and you had symptoms on day 1, then on day 10, no symptoms or symptoms better, no fever, then you can go back. And that's how it should typically work. Now, some schools will want a doctor's note that states that, but in the end, you can't just tell the doctor, here, write me a note to go back to school, I feel better. It doesn't work like that. That's not the world that we are in right now when it comes to kids that are suspected of having COVID. And really, honestly, everything is suspected as COVID. I mean, runny nose, cough, diarrhea, sore throat. These are half the problems kids have. And it makes it much more challenging. So we get that this is difficult, but if you're not going to get tested, we can't just write you notes to tell you to go back to school. One more thing, some parents are being told to do tests at home. The schools are giving you home tests. And whereas this is a nice thing, it's not a doctor test and it's not something we can really use in the office. And it's certainly not something we can use to, quote, clear you to go back to school. Okay, so if you want to do a home test and you're not going to use a real laboratory or a real doctor's office kind of test, then you're kind of on your own with the test. It's between you and the school. We're not part of that picture. We'll write you a note that says that you did a home test and you reported the result to us. But as far as clearance for school because you don't have COVID,
no,
that's not going to work. So we've got to do something that has some integrity controls, and doing the test at home doesn't meet that standard.
In a world where disclaimers are boring, one man...
Excuse me, Mr. Movie Trailer Voice Guy, please just read the copy in front of you.
Oh, sorry. This video is intended to give you informative, educational information. It is not intended for you to self-treat or diagnose yourself or your family. Because we want you to make good medical decisions when it comes to you and your family's health. Please first talk to your doctor before trying or attempting any of the information that you have seen or heard in this video. Thank you.